Weather has been causing concern in the region for weeks now. A climatologist with ETSU is working with the state of Tennessee on how to handle it. Good evening, I'm Sarah Diamond.
And I'm Ansley Daniel in for Casey Marler tonight. News Channel 11's Clarice Shaley spoke with the state climatologist on the issues that the drought is causing. Clarice?
Yeah, Dr. Andrew Joyner is working with the state's Emergency Management Agency and Department of Environment and Conservation to better understand the impact of drought on the state. ETSU Associate Professor of Geosciences and state climatologist Dr. Andrew Joyner helps officials draw lines for the U.S. Drought Monitor.
And so I think there needs to be a lot more attention paid to drought management and anticipation of drought in the state of Tennessee. And so there's things that we're working on to improve that.
He's working with the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency and Department of Environment and Conservation to look at the impact, triggers, and the state's responses to these issues. One of these includes updating the state's drought management plan, which was last updated in 2010. This would provide a more cohesive response to drought, and also conducting a study on how drought could affect things like transportation, wildlife, commerce, and agriculture.
Farmers are having to feed hay a lot sooner than they normally would, so I would be concerned about the cost of hay or lack of hay going into the winter and the spring when they really need that.
According to the National Weather Service, normally the month of September would average around 3 inches of rain, when this year only 0.83 inches were recorded. In October, we should have just over 2.5 inches of rain and recorded under half of that. By the end of November, we should measure just under 1.5 inches, but right now we're just over 1/10 of an inch.
For September, October into November, that is a very dry stretch of months for us here in our region. So that on top of the very extreme drought conditions that we've been seeing, going almost weeks without rain, that's something pretty serious, especially for our region already being dry.
The main concern right now is the possibility of a wildfire.
Any little spark, flame, anything like that can really get out of hand when we're in a situation like this, and those fires can get massive.
Joyner meets with a statewide drought and wildlife task force every 2 weeks, and right now Joyner urges everyone to adhere to burn restrictions.
Clarice, thanks. And due to the dry conditions, the state of Tennessee has issued a burn restriction. It's not a burn ban.
Yeah, this restriction puts a pause on issuing permits for some fires, including debris and prescribed burns. Now, the restriction says that people may not conduct burns that require a permit, but restrictions do not apply to campfires, outdoor grilling, and burn barrels that have mesh covers.